Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 395. Hope everyone is having a great day. Sorry about that. My wife was in the room right next to me. She was really loud. Okay, I could hear her through the door. That's all right. I don't mind hearing her voice. All right. And she's talking about quilting. Okay, go figure. All right, so welcome to the JP8 report. Hope everyone's doing great. Lots of stuff going on. So, man, that's so much. There's no way I'm going to get through all this stuff. There's no way. And the first thing I'm going to do is I got a letter right from John Adams to James Warren on the America 250, and I'm only going to read half of it. Now I'll carry it on over to tomorrow morning because there's a lot of news. So as we get started here, let's see, refresh. There we go. All right. So welcome to the JP8 report. Click that follow button. If you're not already following the JP8 report, I got another follower this morning. I'm sitting at 152. I got two of them in like 2 days. Man, I was ecstatic when I saw that. That was cool. More, please. I don't mind. And then click a like. Give me a like for to smash that thumbs up button, and get in there and chat. I got Covite for life. He's on board. That's Ricky. He's a good friend of mine. And I got Rob. Rob's on vacation. Rob may sneak in during the podcast. Okay, so we'll see. But he's way up in Ohio right now with grandkids. So I think the grandkids take more priority than the podcast. So we'll give them that much. All right. So here we go. America 250. I got a letter written on the 18th of May, 1776 from future President John Adams to James Warren. And it's a 2-pager, but I'm only going to do page 1 today, and I'm going to do page 2 tomorrow morning during JP's morning brief. All right, my dear sir, your letter of the 8th of May received this morning, and as I never have been so much of your opinion that the enemy would return to Massachusetts is possible. They will probably land at Hingham or Braintree or somewhere to the northward of Boston. I may not make a direct attempt upon Boston itself the next time. I hope no pains, no labor or expense will be neglected to fortify the harbor or Boston. However, your militia, you say, is in a broken state, but don't explain what you mean. I was in hopes that the late militia law had put them in a good condition. You must depend upon them chiefly. We have been laboring here to procure you some assistance, and have obtained a vote that the 5 battalions now with you will be filled up, and 3 additional ones raised, 2 in Massachusetts, 1 in Connecticut. A major general and a brigadier are to go to Boston. You must not hesitate at anything for your own defense. New York and Canada will make infinite expense. We did our best, but we could procure no more at present. If an impression should be made upon you, the continent will interpose, but they never will believe it until it takes place. This day has brought us dismissals from Canada, defeated most ignominiously. Where shall we lay the blame? America, duped and bubbled at the phantom of commissioners, has been fast asleep and left the most important post undefended, unsupported. The ministry have caught the colonies as I've often caught a horse by holding out an empty hat, as if it was full of corn, or as many a sportsman has shot woodcocks by making an old horse stalk before them, and hide him from the sight of the bird. Nothing has been put to my patience to the trial as much as to see caves or knaves imposing upon fools by such artifices. I wash my hands of this guilt. I have reasoned, I have ridiculed, I have fretted and declaimed against the fatal delusion from the beginning. But a torrent is not to be impeded by reasoning, nor a storm allayed by ridicule. In my situation, although I have not and will not be restrained from a freedom of speech, yet a decorum must be observed, and ever has been by me. But I have often wished that all America knew, as much as I do, in the springs of action and the motions of the machine. I do not think it prudent nor safe to write freely upon these subjects, even to the most faithful friends. Okay, so that's the first page of the letter to James Warren. I'll do the second part tomorrow morning. All right. So, and then go over here to the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup. Oh, hold on just a second. All right, before I get to that, if you did not know, Retired Rob 53 is on the net with us. Good afternoon to you in Ohio, Mr. Rob. I hope you're having a good vacation. Ricky was just asking about you a couple minutes ago. All right, but let me finish up talking about the armament shop. The armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source of all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text 254-560-2023, or visit them at www.armamentshop.com. That's armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety, our priority. Alrighty. All right. Yeah, so that's cool. And it's good to see Rob on the line with us. That's good. Oh, man, we got some good friends on there today. All right, so let's go on this. We are on the Iran update. I know one of the things is, let's see. Why did I put it so far down? I think. Hold on just a second here. I did not write it in. All right. So, oh yeah, here it is. There's an expected situation room meeting with the president tomorrow with principals. So be ready. I hope Iran is ready. I hope Iran decides they want to submit to to the ceasefire proposal. That would be great. So Israel eliminated Islamic Jihad commander Wael Mohammed Abdul al-Halim in Lebanon yesterday. And then also Israel eliminated Hamas commander Aziz al-Dinau al-Hadar. He was he is the last planner of the October 7th massacre in southern Israel. He's gone also. Okay. Boy, I'd like to have that deck of cards, or that bingo card. The United Arab Emirates condemns the drone attack on their nuclear power plant. As you recall, Iran fired 3 drones at the United Arab Emirates. They shot down 2 of the drones, and one of them hit the generator at the nuclear power plant and damaged it. Saudi Arabia condemned those attacks. Al Khomeini names a new chief of staff who is indicted in the United States on $5.6 million of fraud or robbery, I think it was. The Israeli Defense Forces warned Lebanese citizens to evacuate southern cities inside of Lebanon because they're about to attack the Hezbollah forces again. Iran presents a new 14-point peace plan. Saudi Arabia intercepted 3 drones yesterday from a militia in southern Iraq. So far, there have been 81 vessels turned back to Iranian ports. And in Germany, I hope you're sitting down for this. Germany said the G7 is the place to end the war between Iran and the United States. I don't think the G7 has any place in this negotiation. It should be keep it Pakistan, let the Iranians bring their little white flag over, says we surrender, we'll give you all the nuke stuff, we promise we won't make no more missiles. And by the way, I was going to say, and I will, all we need is someone to deliver the 8-digit grid where Khomeini is staying right now, and the U.S. military will do the rest. That's all we need. All we need is an 8-digit grid, and the game's over. All right? All right. Crude oil. Brent crude oil is $110.75 a barrel. And West Texas Intermediate is $106.79 a barrel. The Dow Jones Industrial is 49,441.76. That is down 84.41 points. So the price, those 2 prices of the oil I gave you, is about the same as it was this morning when I wrote it down for JP's morning brief. Alex Murdaugh sues the court clerk who interfered with the jury. Okay, he's a prisoner. He ain't going to get anything out of it. Alrighty. So next off is as we are talking. Okay, that might be it. All right. So the day is, man, we got full-fledged conversation going on in the chat room. Whew. Trying out a new keyboard. Glad you made it to Ohio. How's the weather? Bad, humid. Wow. Okay. Oh, cool. All right. Okay. Hey, Rob, I hope you're having fun down there in Ohio. All right. So today is day 1 of 5 days here in Texas for our Texas primary runoff. It goes today through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., all 5 days. There is no weekend voting during the runoff. So if you want to early vote, you're going out of town, like Rob told me he's going to have to vote on next Tuesday, right? Then I bet someone at church last night, they said they already sent in their mail-in ballot. I mean, people are doing it. So that's good. But the runoff runs Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you live in Coryell County, we have countywide voting. So you can vote in Gatesville at the Civic Center and at the early vote location, and in Coppers Cove at the early vote center and at the Civic Center also. All right. All 4 locations. And the same thing on the election day for the runoff would be May 26th, Tuesday, May 26th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the people I am supporting in the runoff is I'm going for Ken Paxton for U.S. Senate. I'm going for Mays Middleton for the Texas Attorney General's office. I'm going for Bo French for the Texas Railroad Commission. I'm going for Allison Fox for place 3 of Court of Criminal Appeals. And then for Coryell County Judge, I'm going for Rob Irwin. Please go out and vote. I know there's other people on the ballot, so vote your entire Republican ballot. Okay? So that is for the Texas primary. Let's get into the rest of the JP8 report. As you know, on Friday, by the way, hey Rob, I know you're talking to Ricky. Ricky from Western Pennsylvania. So don't when you're talking about Erie, he knows what you're talking about. All right. So Friday afternoon, Jason Mures, I think it's Jason Mures, or is it Jones? Well, the current man, sometimes when you're in Texas, you forget what you're talking about. I mean, the names of people on the other side of the country. Okay, so the Attorney General for the state of Virginia went to the Supreme Court with other Democrats and submitted a petition for appeal to have the Supreme Court reverse the decision of the state Supreme Court in Virginia on the preceding Monday, I think it was, or Friday, about overturning their decision on the redistricting referendum that was recently passed by voters about 3 weeks ago in Virginia. All right. So the Supreme Court on Friday evening turned down a request by Virginia's Attorney General and other Virginia Democrats to allow the state to use a new congressional map, which would have been expected to strongly favor Democrats in the 2026 elections. The denial came in a brief, unsigned order sent to reporters at 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday, just 15 minutes after the court's public information officer distributed the reply filed by Jay Jones. Okay, Jay Jones is the current Attorney General of Virginia. There were no public dissents from the order. The effects of the court's order are likely relatively minimum because, Secretary General Abigail Spanberger had already indicated earlier this week that she would use the original maps and not the 2026 maps because of everything. I guess she could read the tea leaves about what was about to happen. And she had other problems about to hit her right smack dab in the face, Second Amendment problems. We'll be getting into that in a couple of days. Jones and other Democrats came to the Supreme Court on Monday asking the justices to block the May 8th ruling by the Virginia Supreme Court that invalidated an amendment to the Virginia Constitution allowing the state's legislature to enact a new congressional map. The Virginia General Assembly adopted the new map in February, but before the state could actually use the map, it needed the state's voters to approve the amendment to the Constitution that would give the General Assembly the power to draw a new congressional map outside the normal cycle following the decennial or every 10-year census. In April, voters approved an amendment due to the state's constitution that gave the General Assembly the power to do so. Nevertheless, the divided Virginia Supreme Court struck down the amendment on the grounds the legislature had not followed the correct procedures when they put the new amendment on the ballot. The majority explained that under the state constitution, the legislature must approve the proposed amendment to the Constitution during 2 different legislative sessions, which must be separated by an election to the General Assembly's House of Delegates. Although the legislature had voted on the proposed amendment for the first time, in October 31st, 2025, the majority said more than 1.3 million votes had already been cast in, and said, therefore, the General Assembly passed the proposed constitutional amendment for the first time well after the voters begun casting ballots for the 2025 general election, which meant the first vote would have counted this legislative session. Then they'd have to wait to the next year, the next legislative session, and vote for another one, and then put it on the ballot. So it's a long process. They would have never made it through. So it says in their filing on Monday, asking the justices to step in, Jay and the Virginia Democrats argued that the Virginia Supreme Court ruling overthrows a Democratic outcome just days before the Commonwealth must begin its preparations to administer the 2026 midterm election. Moreover, they contended the dispute implicates two critical issues of federal law: the meaning of the term election under federal law, and the idea that the state must so impersonally transgress the ordinary bounds of judicial review, and that its ruling must be reversed. Okay, so they're just grasping at straws, and the U.S. Supreme Court laughed at. Well, they gave him an unsigned order and said, "Nope, you're wrong." All right. So what I'm saying about the other thing is that she went ahead and signed a very, very restrictive Second Amendment law that's already been filed suit by the NRA and a group of legislatures and another gun rights group that they violated the Second Amendment rights of people in Virginia. So there's more to come on that one. All right, next. If you thought that was fun, and Rob, this applies to you, okay? Because you used to live in Virginia, and then you lived in California also, right? So Prop 50 in California may be going to the Supreme Court also for violating the Voters' Rights Act, because they have majority-minority districts built into the redistricting that they just approved. How they were purposely making, I think, 5 expanded voting districts that were a Hispanic majority. Okay? So you can put California is in hot water also. Okay? California's controversial Prop 50 passed by voters last November as the Democratic countermeasure to Republican-led districts' efforts in Texas, Florida, and other states, is now on a collusion course with the Supreme Court. The measure empowered California Democratic-controlled legislature to sideline the state's independent Citizens Redistricting Commission and redraw congressional districts mid-decade. The commission, created by voters in 2008, was intended to curb partisan manipulation by placing map making in the hands of an independent 14-member panel focused on transparency and fairness. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Rob. Rob is commenting on what I was just saying about California. Hey, guys, y'all can get in there and talk to Ricky and Rob. It's not just a two-person race here, all right? And then backers of Prop 50 argue that the move was a political necessity. California, they said, could not unilaterally adhere to neutral redistricting standards, while Republican-controlled states entrenched their own power through aggressive gerrymandering. There is no gerrymandering to any part of the Texas's new congressional district boundaries. Believe me, I've looked at the map over and over again. Opponents, however, contend the new maps cross the constitutional boundary by relying too heavily on race in the drawing of the districts. Now, with multiple federal lawsuits moving through the courts, the battle over Prop 50 has evolved into a high-stakes constitutional fight. challengers argue that California's maps violate the Equal Protection Clause because race allegedly eclipsed the traditionally redistricting process, such as compactness, congeniality, and respect for existing political boundaries. Plus, the person that drew up the maps admitted in public that he was instructed by the DCCC to draw the maps to include the expanded areas in the Hispanic representation that make the majority districts. All right. So he should, loose lips sink ships. He just sunk their boat. As legislation moves closer to the Supreme Court, Prop 50 could become a landmark test of how far states may go in balancing partisan objectives with constitutional limits on racial gerrymandering. The legal stakes sharpened considerably after the Supreme Court's April 29th ruling in Louisiana versus Calais, a 6-3 decision that significantly tightened constitutional limits on race-conscious redistricting. Right? So, man, let's see. So we're escaping time. So I'm going to try to make this. See if I met the burden. Okay, so we can read all the legalese. All that is legal read. Okay, so this last Saturday, for people living under a rock or wanting to detox for the whole weekend, Bill Cassidy in Louisiana got beat, and he got beat soundly in Louisiana for his re-election. So much so, he came in third place in Louisiana this last Saturday. He got beat by Julia Ledlow and John. Hold on. I had his name. Fleming. Yeah, John Fleming. All right. So Ledlow had 45%. Ledlow had 28%. And Bill Cassidy came in 24.8%. So he didn't make the cutoff. So now he's going to be a retiring senator because he failed to get reelected. All right. If you were looking at my Facebook this weekend, I took a screenshot of some election results and I scratched out Bill Cassidy's name and said, bye-bye, Billy. Because this is like what I was saying. I ain't read none of this yet. But he voted to convict President Trump in 2021 impeachment trial in the Senate. So the president said he was going after him. He personally recruited Congresswoman Ledlow to run for the United States Senate. And she took it, and it looks like she's going to win it. But Saturday night, while the results were coming in, Jason Chaffetz was hosting on the Big Saturday show. Yeah, I think it came on 5 to 7 p.m. on Fox. But he was interviewing Senator Cassidy, and he asked blatantly if he had to do it all over again after everything that came out about what happened to President Trump, how the vote's been rigged, and how the impeachment was rigged and everything. Would he change his vote and vote no? And at first he hem-hawed, and then former Congressman Jason Chaffetz cornered him again and said, no, it's a yes or no question. Would you or would you not change your vote, what you made against President Trump in 2021? And then he says, well, I don't want to look in the past. I only want to look in the future. And Jason said, well, in our country, you have to learn from your past to know what you're going to do in the future. And they got a big argument. And then he said, yes, I would keep the same vote as I voted for back in 2021. And me to Mr. Senator Bill Cassidy is that is why you got beat Saturday night. That is why you got beat. Because you want to look out for your own rear end and not do the right thing. And how in the world do you ever impeach? How do you ever impeach a sitting, a retired president? He's out of office. The Constitution no longer applies to him as the chief executive because he's already out of office. Totally. What, would you drag a Supreme Court justice that's already retired and, we're going to impeach you and then we're going to convict you in the Senate? Well, the guy will be like, I'm already a former Supreme Court justice. It's the same thing as the President of the United States. You could not legally impeach the president after he left office. That is what you have the court system for at that point in time, right? And then we found out they lied through their teeth, and they tried to set the president up for when he leaves office in 2029 to start it all up again and let's just hammer him. This is totally coup-type material against President Trump. That's all they want to do. They could care less. They think of a 5-letter word. That 5-letter word is P-O-W-E-R, power. That's all they think about is power. And Cassidy, Cornyn's going to get this stuff handed to him on Tuesday night when the final results come in next Tuesday. And so you got Cassidy, Cornyn, and when Thune comes up for re-election, he's gone too. All right. So they could have done it the easy way, but now they want to do it the hard way. So 2 people are going to be gone, and there's more coming. Lisa Murkowski, you better pack your bags. So when you come up for re-election, whether you have ranked choice voting or regular voting in Alaska, your goose is cooked also, right? The only quarter we give is to Susan Collins because she's in a heavily Democrat state, and we know she's got to be a moderate Republican in that instance to a point, right? But Murkowski, you better pack your bags, lady, because you're going home too. Just wait, because next we're going to talk about Congressman Thomas Massie, the fake Republican. Oh, I'm a libertarian, really. Well, you should have ran as a libertarian instead of running as a Republican. Man, these people don't get it. They don't get it at all. Fresh, hold on. Really? Luigi Manginoni reporters unapologetically celebrate CEO's assassination. They said F. Brian Thompson. Really? That's great. They're supposed to be unbiased reporters, right? At least I'm a podcaster. I can say what I want. All right. So, fresh off his work to oust Senator Ben Cassidy in Louisiana primary, President Trump made a call to action against Representative Thomas Massie, urging his backers to vote out another one of his GOP critics and warned the rest of the party to align with him or risk Cassidy's fate. Thomas Massie of Kentucky, the worst and most unreliable Republican congressman in the history of our country, and even bigger insult to our nation than Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who suffered an unprecedented loss tonight by not even being allowed into the Republican primary. Trump wrote on Truth Social, this is the first time such a thing has happened to a sitting U.S. senator, because he didn't make the runoff, because Richard Lugar lost in 2012, but it was a 2-person race. That's what you get voting to impeach an innocent man, especially one that made it possible for Cassidy's Senate win. Cassidy failed to advance in Louisiana's Republican primary Saturday night, finishing behind Letlow and State Treasurer John Fleming. Letlow and Fleming will face off November 27th, right? Trump used Cassidy's defeat as a warning shot against Massie. who Trump called the grandstander for having voted against his agenda in the House since 2020. Very disloyal, but Thomas Massie, a major sleazebag, is even worse. Trump's scathing post continued. Kentucky, get this loser out of politics in Tuesday's election. That's tomorrow. He is nicknamed Rand Paul Jr., another real beauty, because he has absolutely terrible voting habits. Vote for Ed Gowring, a successful Kentucky farmer, an American war hero, yes he is, who only ran because he thought that Massie was so disloyal and disrespectful to your president, me. That would be President Trump. This is a great man. Central casting, in fact, he truly deserves to represent fantastic people of Kentucky, a commonwealth that I am proud to have won 3 times in record fashion. Ed will never let you down. Make him great again. Massie is facing Gowring in the Republican primary's 4th congressional district on Tuesday. The race has become one of the highest profile GOP primaries this cycle, with Trump endorsing Gowring in an effort to deny Massie another term. The president's attack follows several posts celebrating Cassidy's defeat in Louisiana. He said, a big night in politics, thank you all. Cassidy, okay, we don't care about Cassidy anymore. The president president's focus quickly shifted back to Kentucky, where Massie has survived past pressure campaigns from Trump, but is now facing a well-funded primary challenge in the final stretch. Cassidy represented Kentucky's 4th district since 2012. That's 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. This would be he's running for his 7th term. Time to go. Way too many terms. The district stretches from northern Kentucky and is heavily Republican, making GOP primary the decisive contest in most election cycles. Trump's feud with Massie has intensified over the past year. Trump called Massie to be primaried after the congressman opposed a short-term government spending bill on March 25, pushing for a release in Jeffrey Epstein's files and opposing a decision to go to war with Iran. Someone thinks they control my voting card by threatening my re-election. Mr. Massie, yes, he can. So it says Trump also targeted Congresswoman Lauren Boebert from Kentucky for supporting Massie, calling her weak-minded, for suggestion he would consider withdrawing his endorsement if a challenger entered the race against her in Colorado's 4th congressional district. Boebert is okay. I'll get to that in just a minute. So, what do y'all think about the president going after Thomas Massie? I think it's appropriate. He was like that all the way the president's 1st term, and he was like that in the president's 2nd term, and he might as well just vote Democrat. That's all that's right. Ed Gowring is a former Navy SEAL. He's well funded. The president is totally supporting him. Hopefully he wins. We'll find out tomorrow night, right? So what I was talking about with Lauren Boebert, okay, this is articles about her. President Trump on Saturday blasted Lauren Boebert, a longtime ally of the president, but threatened to back a primary challenger after she campaigned for one of his Republican rivals. Trump lashed out on True Social against Boebert. Massie needs to go. Yes. Trump lashed out on True Social against Boebert, whom he previously endorsed for re-election just hours after she campaigned for Thomas Massie, one of Trump's most vocal GOP critics. He says, is anyone interested in running against a weak-minded Lauren Boebert in Colorado's 4th congressional district, Trump wrote. The president criticized Boebert for supporting Massie, whose primary challenger against retired Navy SEAL El Garain has Trump's endorsement. Okay, so he also wrote, Boebert is campaigning for the worst Republican congressman in the history of our country, Thomas Massie of the great Commonwealth of Kentucky. And nobody who can be that dumb deserves a good primary fight, Trump wrote. Even though a long ago endorsed Boebert, if the right person came along, it would be my honor to withdraw that endorsement and endorse a good and proper alternative. Just let me know or announce your candidacy, and I will be there for you. She's toast. You're going to find someone in Colorado to run against her. Boebert initially declined to comment directly on Trump's post when questioned by Fox News, saying that she did not want to elevate it. That's smart on her part. She later defended her support for Massie in a post on X. She wrote, yes, I saw the president's post. No, I'm not mad or offended. She wrote, I knew the risk when I agreed to stand by my friend. When asked about Trump's post following the campaign rally on Saturday night, Massie told Fox News it was too late to challenge Boebert because the filing deadline has already passed. Oh, wow, she got away with that one, right? I think he should be mending fences with these folks, try not to burning bridges. Trump has vowed to unseat Massie, who has pushed for him to release government files to late financier. He's with Jeffrey Epstein people. So what I would like to say about Miss Boebert, even though she got lucky and passed the filing deadline, right? This woman, oh my goodness. Okay, she was in the 10th Colorado Congressional District. And then 2 years ago, she realized she was not as popular as she thought she was. And so she unfiled for that congressional district and refiled for the 4th congressional district in Colorado, and let another Republican run and won in the 10th congressional district. So the reason why she did that, because she lived out of district. There is nothing in federal law that says you must live in your congressional district to represent it. Okay, you just can only have one congressional congressional person per district, right? You can't have converging ones. That's what I'm talking about, right? Your authority is within that boundary. So she filed for the 4th and won. So, but she lives in the 10th, unless she's already moved. But that's what the president was getting at in one of his posts he was talking about. She's very conservative. She's like more of a libertarian. And sometimes you got to just shake your head. She's divorced. She got caught making out in a theater a couple years ago and got kicked out of the theater. I don't know if y'all knew about that, but, that happens too. All right. Well, we're at 12:45. We're doing all right. We're going to talk a little bit about Texas, especially since we're inside the primary, right? So, in Texas right now, we have 38 congressional districts, okay, plus 2 senators. That gives us 40 electoral votes, right? So everyone believes that Texas was undercounted in the last census we had. Instead of gaining 2 congressional seats, we really should have gained 4 congressional seats. But Joe Biden, President Otto Penn, in all of his guidance, awarded Texas 2, right, instead of 4. Okay, they have already said that the influx of people into the state of Texas is so great that we are going to get 4 additional congressional seats when we have the next census. That would take Texas from 38 to 42 congressional districts. But I'm saying they're wrong. We've had so many people move to Texas since 2020 that we should really get 6 congressional seats instead of 4. That would be monumental. But it's true. Texas has grown so much in just the last 6 years. You will see when we have our next census that we're going to blow it out of the water. So we shouldn't have 42. We should have 44 congressional seats when the next census occurs. All right, that's a lot. I mean, we would be ended up with we'd be in probably a new congressional district here. All right, so I'm saying all that because the Census Bureau released this deal about census find majority of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. are in ding, 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 ding. Do I have any bets? Does anyone want to guess what state in the United States has the fastest growing cities in it? I'll give you a 5 count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Texas. All right. I bet you already knew that. 8 of the 50. But will all those seats be Republican? You know what? That's for the Texas legislature to determine. And they probably would take one around a majority Democrat area as long as it's not race-based and make it in a known Democrat area. That would be suffice with me, okay? That would be, because that would make them earn that seat instead of just giving it to them or just giving someone a Republican seat and say, it's yours. No, you still got to go out and fight for that seat, all right? Texas, y'all are late. All right. 8 of the 15 fastest growing cities in the U.S. were reported in Texas, according to a newly released U.S. Census Bureau data. Fort Worth, my hometown, also made history, becoming the 10th largest city in the United States. I cannot believe Fort Worth has 1 million people in it. When I was 18 and leaving for the Army, there was only like 360,000 people lived in Fort Worth. Now it has over 1 million people. While a widespread national slowdown in population growth was reported between July 1, 2024 and July 1, 2025, typing errors. According to U.S. Census Bureau's newly released vintage 2025 population estimates, I'm going to have to pull that chart up. Texas cities broke records. The 5 fastest growing cities in the country with populations over 20,000 were in Texas: Salina, Fulshire, Princeton, Melissa, and Anna. I know where 2 of those cities are. Salina and Melissa are in northeast Dallas and Collin County, around McKinney. Salina, located near Dallas, was the fastest growing city in the U.S. Its population surged by 24.6% in 1 year. 1 year. Salina was also the fastest growing city in the country in 2023. The census notes rapid growth is nothing new for Salina. Fulshire is not far behind. It reported a 21% population increase, and Princeton, Texas, was 18.1%, and Melissa, Texas, was 14.5%. Wow. The 15 fastest growing cities and towns in the country with populations over 20,000 was Salina, Texas, Forsyth, Texas, Princeton, Texas, Melissa, Texas, Anna, Texas, Haines City, Florida, Waukee, Iowa, Forney, Texas, which is in the mid-cities also of Texas, Eagle Mountain, Utah, Johnstown, Colorado, Kuna, Idaho, Queen Creek, Arizona, Hutto, Texas, which is outside of Round Rock, Foley, Alabama, and Greenville, Texas. Greenville, Texas is just to the east of Dallas, over by Melissa, and it's the home of Medal of Honor recipient Audie Murphy. All right, just so you know. 6 of the top 15 cities with the largest numeric population increase in the country were also in Texas. Fort Worth, San Antonio, Salina, Houston, Forsyth, and then there's McKinney. That whole area is just exploding. 5 of the 15 most populated cities in the country are in Texas. Houston, ranked number 4, with a population of 2.4 million. San Antonio is 7th with 1.5 million. Dallas, 9th at 1.3 million. Fort Worth is 10th at 1 million. And Austin is ranked 12th at 1 million. Unbelievable. So I'll end it with this. In response to Fort Worth becoming, because it says Fort Worth in it, become the 10th most populous city in the country, its mayor Maddie Parker said, Fort Worth is booming for the right reasons. As we celebrate our top 10 ranking, it's more important than ever that we continue to lead with smart policies, smart investments, and smart planning to ensure the city we love thrives long into the future. That's why I believe Texas will be getting 6 congressional seats instead of 4 when we have our first new one reapportionment in 2032. All right? That's wild. Fort Worth with 1 million people. Man. All right, so where am I at so far? So there. We got that one right there. What do we got? We're at 12:54. All right. Before we leave, I'm going to have to get the rest of this stuff in the morning. All right. I'm going to talk about the United States Air Force. So the FBI on Thursday offered $200,000 for information that leads to the arrest and prosecution of a former active duty U.S. Air Force intelligence specialist and special agent for the Air Force Office of Special Investigations who is accused of espionage. Monica Witt, 47 years old, also known to use alias as Fatma Zahra and Nargis Witt, was federally indicted in Washington, D.C. in 2018 on charges of espionage. She is accused of defecting to Iran and turning over classified information to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Here's what we know about Witt's alleged descent from American warfighter to suspected Iranian asset. She was born in El Paso. Oh, great, she's a Texan. And enlisted into the Air Force in 1997. Shortly after her 18th birthday, according to the New York Times, she was assigned to an RC-135 reconnaissance airplane crew. Her 2018 indictment says that she was assigned to the U.S. DLI in Monterey, California, between 1998 and 1999, where she learned Persian Farsi. From May 1999 to 2003, Witt was deployed on several overseas locations in order to conduct classified missions collecting signals intel. In 2002, she reportedly deployed to Saudi Arabia. The indictment says Witt was assigned to the Air Force Office of Special Investigations Special Agent Criminal Investigator and counterintelligence officer, where she deployed elsewhere in the Middle East, including Iraq in 2005 and Qatar in 2006. Rob says as a former MI, she needs to be hung. Yeah. She was part of a special access program that gave her access to classified information, including details of ongoing counterintelligence ops, true names of sources, and identities of U.S. agents involved in the recruitment of those sources. She not only needs to be hung, her body needs to be burned while she's still alive. This SAP, also known within the U.S. intelligence community by code name, the code name allowed agents to communicate in the open without disclosing the true nature of their operations. Witt's time in the U.S. Air Force came to an end in 2008. From 2008 to 2010, she was employed as a government contractor, but worked with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. The New York Times reported that Witt received her bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland in 2008, just about the same time she left the Air Force. Thereafter, she enrolled in a graduate program at George Washington University. Witt, described as withdrawn and alienated by classmates, who also mentioned drone strikes, extrajudicial killings, and atrocities against children. It was in February 12, just before she graduated from George Washington, that the government said Witt set her plans to betray the United States and defect to Iran in motion. She traveled to Iran that month to attend the International Conference of Hollywoodism in Tehran, an anti-Western event held during the Fars International Film Festival each year, aimed at condemning American moral standards and promoting anti-U.S. propaganda. During the trip, she is accused of providing her bona fides to the IRGC in order to establish that she was a credible source for American national defense intelligence and that she disclosed government secrets to them. Oh my goodness, man. She was not invited to the Hollywoodism, but was allowed to speak anyway, according to the New York Times. The indictment says she was identified as a U.S. veteran and made statements that were critical to the U.S. government, knowing these videos would be broadcast by Iranian media outlets. At the same time, her public conversion to Islam was filmed and broadcast on Iranian state TV. In May, about the same time she received her graduate degree, the FBI reached out to Witt, telling her she was a prime target for recruitment by Iranian intelligence officials. By then, it was too late. Yeah, it sure was. Witt had become ensnared by a spotter, someone who recruits on behalf of foreign intel services, in this case, Iran. The indictment refers to the spotter as Individual A, named by the New York Times as Louisiana-born journalist turned naturalized Iranian citizen and state television broadcaster Masra Hashami. Hashami allegedly traveled to the U.S. along with Witt, filmed an anti-Western propaganda film that was later distributed by Iran. Over the course of the next year, according to the indictment, Witt bounced from country to country while she worked with Hashami to gain permanent residence in Iran, some of that time spent in Dubai and Afghanistan. Around that time, the FBI put out a missing persons declaration for Witt, saying that on July 2013, she was believed to be in either Afghanistan or Tajikistan teaching English. Text messages between the pair chronicled their efforts, including Iranian suspicion of Witt and alleged plans to slip into Russia quietly and expose U.S. secrets via WikiLeaks if she couldn't gain access to Iran. Witt explicitly said in one of the messages that she would not go to Turkey for fear the country's extradition agreement with the United States. But on August 25th, 2013, according to the indictment, Witt sent an email entitled "My Bio and Job History" to Hashami, which contained more bona fides: her certificate of release or discharge from active duty, her DD Form 214, and her Islamic conversion narrative. The indictment alleges that around the same time, she searched on Facebook for the names of U.S. intelligence service assets. What are you thinking about this, Rob? This is stupid. Man. Give me her 8-digit grid somewhere in Iran. The same day, the email was forwarded to an email address associated with the Iranian government. On August 28, 2013, she boarded a flight to Iran. "I'm signing off. I'm heading out. Coming home," she texted Hashami. Immediately after defecting, Witt was accused of providing Iranian government officials with the code name for the Department of Defense, SAP. Oh my goodness, man! I was threatened with life imprisonment, man. Throughout 2014 and 2015, she is accused of helping create target packages, defined as a document or a set of documents assembled to enable an intelligence and military unit to find, fix, track, or neutralize a threat for the Iranian government. Those targets have allegedly included the names of U.S. counterintelligence agents. Later, she is accused of linking up with Iranian hackers and producing malware designed to capture targets' keystrokes, access a computer web camera, or monitor other computer activity. The technology also turned against U.S. intelligence assets whom Witt identified, according to her indictment. Witt and her co-defendants concocted schemes to implant malware on the computers of U.S. military intelligence workers known to Witt, mostly by reaching out to them through Facebook. That's why I don't like to do Facebook messaging. She was indicted along with 4 other co-conspirators accused in the hacking operation. Witt is officially charged with conspiracy to deliver and delivering national defense information to representatives to the Iranian government, delivering national defense information to representatives of the Iranian government, conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, and aggravated identity theft, and aiding and abetting. Then it says, Monica Witt allegedly betrayed her oath to the Constitution more than a decade ago by defecting to Iran and providing the Iranian regime national defense information, and likely continues to support her nefarious activities. Daniel Wizbicki said he's a special agent in charge of the FBI Field Office, Counterintelligence, and Cyber Division. He said that in Tuesday's announcement about the $200,000 reward. It should be $2 million reward, plus 8-digit grid to her location. The FBI, if Barack Obama can kill an American citizen with a drone strike, we can do the same thing to this traitorous. I'll cease that conversation because I don't want to use words. I don't want to Man. Mm. The FBI has not forgotten and believes during this critical moment in Iran's history, there is someone who knows something about her whereabouts. The FBI wants to hear from you, and you can help us apprehend Wit and bring her to justice for $200,000, or just give us that grid location, just 8-digit grid. We'll take care of the rest. We'll just send a B-2 bomber over with the MEP and obliterate 6 square city blocks of where she's located at, and we won't have a care in the world anymore. She is a traitor. She committed espionage and sedition, and she openly supported a belligerent against the United States, which is against federal law also. I served my country. I had to sign NDAs. I had forgotten a lot of stuff that I had. They told me, forget about what you just heard. And I did. A lot of it I've totally forgotten about. I don't want to remember. Build that wall around that information so you never repeat it ever again. This lady violated her oath when she took to join the Air Force, when she joined the vote as a contractor. Oh, goodness. Last thing I see from retired Rob is hang her high. Yeah. Hang her high, set her body on fire while she's still alive, and then shoot her in each extremity until she's dead. All right. I'm stressed out now. Wow. All right. So don't forget, you go vote if you're in Texas, and tomorrow go vote if you're in Kentucky. All right. So it's already 10 after 1. All right. So I hope everybody has a good afternoon. Thanks a lot, Ricky and Rob, for being in the chat. Rob, I hope you're having fun in Ohio. That'd be great. I can't wait to see you next week. All right. And Ricky, I'll see you in a couple of days too. But I will be back on the JP's morning brief tomorrow morning at 6:30. We'll go over even more stuff and try to have a good afternoon. Don't forget, like I said, go vote. Polls are open till 7 p.m. here in Texas. All right. I will talk to y'all later. This is James Pierce, the JP8 report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.